Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis, and with me, as always, is Jiunn Liu. How you doing, Jiunn?
I'm good.
So today we are talking about the Bandolero Pack II Traviesos. This is kind of a short torpedo, 5-inch by 50 ring gauge. Comes out of the Vegas de Santiago factory in Costa Rica. None of the blend details are disclosed, wrapper, binder, or filler. It is blended by Nelson Alfonso. Price point on the cigar is $11.99, and not quite sure on the release date on this one. It's been a few years, so we'll just go ahead and say, I don't know, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. So with all that info out of the way, June, what was your pre-light experience like?
First, the cigar look. I thought the cigar had a really gorgeous wrapper. Shiny, medium brown wrapper. Things well pressed, seems tight and visible. I also thought that the execution of that torpedo style pointed head was done really well. Well adhered, thick triple cap. That bunch and roll felt really good. Got a uniform give throughout the whole thing. In terms of the nosy experience, smelling the wrapper, I got cedar, hay, subtle white pepper. Subtle black pepper. Smelling the foot, black pepper, cardboard, and hay. And when I did the cold draw tasting, hay, dry wood, and a little bit of a toasted nuts going on. And all of it, all in all, just absolutely gorgeous looking cigar.
Yeah, wrapper was medium brown, kind of had a slight tint of orange to it, depending on how you looked at it. A couple of veins that ran down this one side of the cigar. Seams were smooth, but they were fairly easily visible. Torpedo head, finished off with a well-applied triple cap. The band, just a single band, primarily black and brown, along with some gold lettering and some silver artwork. Aroma from the wrapper was a pretty sweet hay, and the foot gave off a kind of a mix of wood and raisin. And pre-light draw brought like a faint leather note for me. So getting into the smoking experience, what was the flavor like for the first third through final third?
Um, so first third, lots and lots of nuttiness and toastiness. Specifically, it got a bunch of toasted nuts, a little bit of a faintly charred oak going on. Also, really nice balanced black pepper and a slight meatiness to it as well. Something that kind of that's kind of chewy and kind of like protein kind of a meatiness.
Mm-hmm.
So the retrohaling got more intense notes of black pepper and toasted nuts finish, primarily lingering with a moderately dry wood, strength and body medium mark. In terms of now moving on to the second third, I thought that the black peppers started moving towards the background, and I got mainly a profile that's centered around toasted nuts, that slight meatiness, and a lightly charred oak. Retro still had that same deepness in toasted nuts and black pepper, but also picked up a hay note. Finish still lingering with moderately dry wood, in addition to a balanced black pepper. Strength and body still at the medium side. Third, the last third kind of fell apart a little bit for me. It became a bit more mundane and less complex, mainly getting dry wood and a layer of black pepper. Retro, still my favorite, giving me the notes of that black pepper and toasted nuts. Finish combination of that dry wood and sharp black pepper spice. Strength and body finish about the medium.
Yeah, initial draws brought a mix of wood and baking spice, and then after a few draws, the wood really ramped up, and the baking spice was just kind of in the background. Half an inch in, the baking spice in the background kind of transitioned to more of black pepper, and it was a little bit fuller, but it was still in the background. The retro hill also carried that same kind of ratio of wood to pepper, and then at an inch in, the black pepper reduced a bit, and then at an inch and a quarter, the wood gained a nice char to it, and the pepper had completely left the profile. And then as the third came to a close, that char reduced as some cream joined in with the profile, and strength level was just right at the medium. And getting the second third, some pepper rejoined the profile to mix with that wood and the cream. And then a half inch in, the pepper left again, and some char joined in with that wood and cream. Retrohale, just slightly charred wood note. And then at 3/4 of an inch in, the char increased, which kind of caused that cream to drop back a bit. And then at an inch and a quarter, a little bit of bitterness joined in with that charred wood, and the cream had just completely left the profile at that point. And strength had bumped up a little bit to just be right above medium. Getting into the final third, kind of begins the profiles, charred wood, slight bitterness, a little bit of cream that returned in there. 1/4 inch in, The bitterness backs off to be just beyond the finish. And then at a half inch in, the cigar began to warm up a little bit as the ring gauge was starting to decrease on that torpedo head. 3/4 of an inch in, the char drops back, lets kind of wood take the front stage. Bitterness is just completely gone at that point. And as the cigar was wrapping up, kind of a creamy nuttiness joined in with that wood. And that strength remained at that slightly above medium mark. So getting into performance for burn and draw, what was your experience like?
In terms of, I had a subpar burn in a really good draw. So starting with the worst news, I guess. I had to touch this thing up like 3 major touch-ups, and that was really the culprit of the smoking experience for me. There's this majority of that wrapper, it just refused to burn throughout the whole smoking time. Ashes slightly flaky, averaging about an inch self-tap marks, which is pretty good. Smoking time, however, was good as well. Hour and 30 minutes, which is very respectable for something of this Vitola size. Draw, on the other hand, considering that, especially that it's a taper kind of a style head, tighter, it's a little bit on the tighter side, but nonetheless, it was still fantastic, I thought. So the burn was really the letdown.
Yeah, the burn for me was different than what you had. I just had some slight waves here and there, but overall it was very straight. So not really any issues there. I had the same as you in regards to the ashes, kind of held on in 1 inch increments. In regards to the draw, just slightly tighter than I prefer, but didn't cause any issues with the smoking experience. It's more of a preference type thing, so really no issues there performance-wise for me. So overall, what were your thoughts on the cigar?
I really like the flavors overall. I thought it was a good tasting cigar. Nothing that's super off the charts good or average. Just regular old good cigar. Really enjoy the copious amounts of the toastiness and the nuttiness that I got. The major touch-ups, super annoying. And really, for a price tag of a cigar that's on the higher end, such as this at like $12, I expect better construction of performance. It seems like this is a one-off situation, given that you have such a good burn on your cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And I did just smoke one for this review, but given that both of us, it seemed like it was a one-off situation.
Yeah, there were not a lot in the way of transitions for the cigar, but the flavor profile was pretty solid in the first third, and kind of settled down into like an average profile the rest of the way. Great performance for me, so allowed me to just focus on the flavors, which I always appreciate. And I know this line gets lost kind of behind the Atabey and the Byron. It's kind of like the stepbrother of those two. But I think it's still still a pretty solid smoke. I'd be interested in trying this maybe in another Vitola just to see what kind of different sizes I come across with it. But I definitely recommend people picking one up. this is definitely the lowest price point to get into that game of what Selected Tobaccos has. So, Byron's the top of the line, around $30. Atabey's around the $20 mark, and then this one kind of is around $12. So, if you're looking to just kind of get a feel for what they're offering, then this is probably the good starting point of how to get there. So, getting to the scores, you give it a 5.93. I gave it a 6. We're really close. How do you think that matched up with your experience?
Actually, really well. I think the major minus was, of course, that burn, but I thought overall, in terms of the flavor profile, it was overall good. Last third being average. Bad burn, good draw. So somewhere in that upper 5 range suits this perfectly.
Yeah, same with me. Slightly above average in the flavor notes, but very good performance for me. That's kind of how I get to that 6 score. So, like I said, it's a good performing cigar. It smokes pretty well. It's got some good flavors. So I think it's well worth a try to see if people like the profile, to see if it's something that they want to explore a little bit more. Any other final thoughts from you?
I was thinking about how this is $12. I'm thinking if you're gonna spend $12 on a small Vitola like this, you might as well spend another like $8 and they get the Atabey, the little size, the Vino one. I know they're very different cigars and they hit different markets, but it's like, well, hell, I'll tag on an extra $8 and I'll get something that I know I'm gonna like, which is an Atabey.
Right. Yeah, I guess if you want to go that route, you can do that too. All right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And you can also catch up all of our review recaps on podcast, iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.